Good morning and welcome back to the morning commute. We are at 63 degrees and it's a great morning. I had a cup of coffee, made my breakfast burrito, and all I did was pack some of those frozen bean burritos. I think they have beef in them or something. And that's my meals for the day. Got me a second cup of coffee here. And this is a beautiful sunrise. I hope you guys are ready for another day. It's Wednesday, and so we are 2 days away from the weekend. I don't think there's a lot planned for this weekend. I know I need to take my truck in for some work. I really wanted to get the transmission pan dropped in oil, or my filter changed, and put in some new transmission fluid. I'll see if they can fit me in for that and an oil change this weekend. Kind of wanted to do their rear diff too, but I think that one I might just, it depends on what they charge. If they don't charge a lot, I'll have that done at the dealer. But the process itself doesn't seem too difficult as long as you have a way to pump the fluid out from that hole from the back where you have to fill it from. But if you don't, I'm sure you can just slowly loosen the bolts and then just let it drain on its own. You just have to make sure you're filling it up properly. A lot of people that I've seen, they would pump out the fluid and then measure how much they got out so they know approximately how much to put back. And so I'll check those prices this afternoon and maybe give them a call and see if they can fit me in or if they have any specials. Well, I need to check all the Chevy dealers around the valley to see if they have any specials. And nowadays, it seems like not all of them honor other competitors' coupons like they used to in the past. That was years ago when they used to have free diagnostic testing as well. But now everything's being charged for. But you gotta take care of your vehicles. I see some people driving around and it looks like they don't even maintain their vehicles. I just run them into the ground. But my dad, he has several vehicles over 200,000 miles, and we have two in Polaca that are over 200. One's 280 and I think one's 290, and they're running strong. We just make sure and maintain the fluids and tires. Just take care of your ride and it'll take care of you, kind of thing. So that's what's on the agenda for the weekend. As far as I know, that's all we are doing. The band will be playing on Saturday, so that'll be some fun. They're going to be cooking and jamming, and then they also have a new singer. So they have basically two new members. So we'll get to meet the newest member this weekend and listen to them jam. So let's see what's going on the traffic station today.
Forward. It's not always death, but when you have the money to pay it all.
Discrimination. Is rodeo DEI in schools silencing some teachers? This is NPR News.
Yeah, this is Morning Edition here on KJZZ, starting off your day, and we'll have the Marketplace Morning Report in about 10 minutes. There's a sell-off this morning in the market for U.S. Treasury bonds. This amid ongoing market jitters about the impacts of tariffs on the global economy. Preview of markets opening after some volatile days coming up in the Marketplace coming up in about 10 minutes on 91.5. Stay with us.
KJZZ is supported by SR deliver reliable, sustainable water and power to meet the evolving needs of the valley now and for the next 100 years. You can discover how SRP is moving forward at srp.net/future.
KJCC is supported by Albertsons and Safeway pharmacies with over 15 vaccines available like flu, COVID-19, shingles, pneumonia, hepatitis B, and travel vaccines. Appointments on the grocery app or visit Albertsons or Safeway.com/vaccinations.
64 degrees in Phoenix at 5:43.
Support for NPR comes from the station and from the Wallace Foundation, an independent, nonpartisan research foundation, collaborating with grantees and partners in the arts, school leadership, and youth development. More at wallacefoundation.org. From Jarl and Pamela Milton.
Had a permanent police chief since 2022.
If you've been watching your investments, you get no break today. The president's reciprocal tariffs went into effect at midnight after a good start yesterday. The three major indices closed down across the board.
The Mesa Easter pageant starts tonight at the LDS Mesa, Arizona Temple, just north of Broadway Road. The event runs every day, Tuesday through Saturday, until April 19th, the day before Easter. All of our top stories are just 15 minutes away. For more news, go to KTAR.com or the KTAR News app.
Now let's take a look at the roads in the Valley Chevy Dealers Traffic Center with John Roller.
LaDonna, things picking up a little bit. We've got a new crash on the on-ramp, eastbound I-10 right at 83rd Avenue. Then up ahead, we started the morning off, at least the crash morning off, with a crash at eastbound I-10 right near 51st Avenue. That's where we started to see some slowing, and that means we've got slowing coming southbound on the 101 Agua Fria Freeway, transitioning to the eastbound I-10. And a little further south, we've got a crash involving a motorcycle now. This is at Van Buren at 83rd Avenue, and also a police investigation ongoing this morning. 12th Street, both directions shut down right near Bethany Home Road. Police asking you to avoid that area. John Roller, KTAR News.
Sunny skies with a high of 98 today, a high of 100 tomorrow, and then we're going to climb up to 102 on Friday. Weather brought to you by Howard Air and Plumbing. Weather replace or repair, call Howard Air and Plumbing.
Yesterday, the Supreme Court issued another decision that's being seen as a victory for the Trump administration. The court cleared the way for the executive branch to terminate about 16,000 probationary federal workers.
Joining us with details, ABC News investigative reporter Peter Haralambous. And Peter, the court said that 9 labor unions did not have standing in this case. How so?
Yeah, this was really a procedural way out for the Supreme Court. According to the High Court, these groups really didn't have enough skin in the game to be bringing this lawsuit. The court suggested that, perhaps the case could be heard if other people brought a case. For example, there's a similar lawsuit in Maryland brought by a group of Democratic attorneys general that might be more successful. But in the meantime, it means that these 16,000 federal employees have an even more uncertain future. They don't know if they're going to be fired any day now, with the Trump administration basically doing this process all over again, and the Supreme Court decision doesn't make that future any more clear.
Yeah, and it doesn't make it clear what effect that's going to have on the 50 states, because many of these federal workers aren't just located there in Washington, D.C. and in the surrounding area inside the Beltway. These people are spread out across America.
That's exactly right. We're not just talking about D.C. employees here. These are people from across the federal government. Basically, anyone who was within a year of their employment or recently changed jobs within the federal government, those are the people targeted under this order. And even when this California judge issued this order last month, it wasn't necessarily, all positive for them either way. But that court really came to the conclusion that the Trump administration had the right to fire these employees. They just have to follow set procedures, including giving these people enough notice and letting Congress know that they're going to be fired. So these people knew that, in all likelihood, the Trump administration could make another swing at firing them again. And now that temporary relief from that California judge is basically off the table for now while the case goes through the appeals court.
All right, switching topics just a little bit. Earlier this week, the Supreme Court threw out a federal judge's decision and sided with the Trump administration, which allowed it to utilize the Alien Enemies Act to deport alleged Venezuelan gang members. But it didn't exactly give the administration carte blanche, right?
No, it didn't. It came to the conclusion that if the Supreme Court wants to use the Alien Enemies Act to deport these people, non-citizens that the Trump administration believes are members of taalawva, they have give them enough time to file a lawsuit in federal court challenging their removal. It's going to be seen how the Trump administration follows this directive, and we're seeing already more legal challenges. For example, just this morning here in New York, we're expecting a 10 a.m. hearing where a different judge, Alvin Hellerstein, is taking up basically the same challenge for two men who are currently being detained in New York.
Now, what about the people who've already been deported? Does the Supreme Court decision give them any recourse?
If anything, the Supreme Court decision makes that future even less promising. The Supreme Court not only gave the Trump administration a win in that case, they also temporarily stayed an order from a Maryland judge that required a Maryland father of a 5-year-old to be brought back to the United States after he was sent to El Salvador in error. In both of these cases, really, the Supreme Court signaled the path forward for future cases, what needs to be followed the next time the Trump administration attempts this. But for those more than 200 men who are kind of staying in that notorious facility in El Salvador, we have not heard any kind of reasonable suggestions from the judge or the Trump administration that could suggest how or when they would come back to the United States.
All right, thanks a lot, Peter. That is Peter Haralamos, ABC News investigative reporter, with a couple of issues decisions being issued by the Supreme Court that are really being seen as a victory for the Trump administration. First off, the 16,000 probationary federal workers that the Trump administration wants to fire, they're saying they can fire them, and also saying you can move forward with the Alien Enemies Act, but you do have to follow due process.
Coming up in just moments, you will not believe the things that a would-be assassin did. We'll explain.
All right now it is a time to check the traffic, and here is John Roller in the Valley Chevy Dealers Traffic Center. See if you're on time.
Yeah, there's one spot where you're going to have to spend a few extra minutes, and that's the eastbound I-10. Have a crash right at the 83rd Avenue on-ramp there, and DPS troopers just getting on the scene now, so you will see some flashing red and blue lights, and that is causing a curiosity factor. There are lanes open, but that means you're backed up to the Agua Fria transition ramp coming eastbound on the I-10. Maybe a couple extra minutes to get into the 202 transition. You'll reload about 51st Avenue. That's where we had an earlier minor crash that has been moved off to the right, and now starting to see a little bit of slowing build on the southbound I-17, starting in Glendale, down through the stack, and south of the stack had a stalled vehicle right in the Durango curve. That has cleared away, only moderate slowing now south of the stack all the way over to the split. Have a car motorcycle crash van veering in 83rd Avenue, and police activity in the area of 12th Street and Bethany Home Road, both northbound, southbound. 12th Street is shut down right at Bethany Home Road. John Roller, KTAR News.
All right, folks, we had to wait to the very end to get to the traffic report. Drive safe if you are commuting. If you're not, enjoy your morning and day. Let us know in the comments when you plan to plant, what you're planting, or maybe if you already did, let us know. I know for us, we need to restock on white corn. It's always good to have blue as well, but we don't have a plan for when we are going to all meet out home. That's to come. You guys have a great day. Be safe. Don't forget to hug your loved ones and tell them how much you appreciate them. And let's smile and have fun. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and also put your favorite native channel in the comments so we can add it to the playlist. Take care.